Bam! What's going on, folks? MC is in the house. My name is Justin Garcia, also known as Master Chim, and welcome to the Warrior Stream, which happens every Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. I am currently at my home in Pennsylvania. Those of you guys that do not know who I am originally from New York. I now live here with my wife, 4 children, and 160-something pound puppy. And every Wednesday I'm here for about an hour or so talking about different topics and such. So I will allow people some time to jump on. Do me a favor, I'm streaming this on a couple of different platforms. So those of you guys that are watching on YouTube, please hit a like or give me a comment. Same thing for those of you that are on the various Facebook pages that this is going to. I want to make sure I'm loud and clear. All right. Corey, what's going on? Jay Russell in the house. Right on. So Corey says, good afternoon. Congrats on the 20th episode milestone. You know, I appreciate that, Corey. And Big Ryan up in Canada. What's up, brother, man? I appreciate that, Corey. You know, 20 episodes in, this is something that, for those of you the guys who have been following me for a while, you know that I've done hundreds of podcast episodes and such. And it's, I'm going to sound like an asshole, and it's pretty early in the episode to start sounding like an asshole. Got to go with the flow, I guess. You know, there's something to the fact that one of the most successful podcast platforms today is the interview format where, you know, I would have a guest on, and I've done that. You know, the Pressure Master podcast was my go at that. And one of the things that happened, you know, early on in doing that is I just, you know, there weren't a lot of people I wanted to talk to. It's not that people don't have something valuable to say. It's that, you know, a lot of this I do because this is my thing. This is my gig. This is like my journey, my path. This is the game I play, however you want to phrase it. And it's not really as tactfully designed as one who is looking to have the, you know, the biggest podcast that they could have. I really just want to be me and do what I do, and have, you know, a good energy exchange, you know, with those rituals. So that being said, I'm 20 episodes in, and that is something, and that's why I appreciated that sentiment, because I like this. I like that it's once a week. I like that I'm on for about an hour. I like that I could talk about whatever I want to talk about. And I also enjoy this software that I'm using that gets to put it on various different platforms. I wish it also put it on Instagram in some way, because that would be the one that I'm just missing. But I'm basically looking to create sustainable systems, right? So doing this on this platform, I'm in my house. I have one light on me. I have a background light just to create a, you know, what do they call it? A ring light, whatever the fuck they want to call it, but basically a background light. And I could just go. You know, I've done this so many times. It's really a fun time for me to just get on here and start shooting from the head. So, Juan, what's going on, my man? Good to see you, brother. All right, so let's get into it. Today I wanted to talk about gratitude. And you know, I appreciate the sentiment of what gratitude means to people. And I think, like a lot of things that I tend to discuss, you know, gratitude is one of those things that for a lot of people, it remains an abstraction. Whereas I'm somebody that's always looking to design formulas or maybe distill formulas to give me a little bit more of a, not only a transparent relationship with these ideas, but also to give me a little bit more control. I don't want to control my environment per se, but I want to do things on purpose, right? I want to have some intent behind what it is that I'm doing. And I think, you know, my approach to sort of finding the formulas in things that I've already built relationships with is a testament to that. So gratitude is going to be one of them. So 12-pack, thank you, Corey. Good to hear it. All right. So let's start with a definition. And I wrote 2 things down that I didn't want to miss. And I'm going to start with the definition. This actually went out in the email this morning. If you guys have not yet signed up to the Master Chim letter, Go to masterchim.com, put your email in. It's a free email. You get it every day. I write them every day. And there's usually some content. I usually put a quote of the day, and then any other thing that I'm involved in, whether it's, one of my products, programs, events, whatever else is going on. I include that too. So if you want to stay connected to the world of MC, that's the way to do it. I span the spectrum of controversy, but I never know when somebody's just going to pull the plug on what it is that I'm doing. It's happened to better people than me. So I'm not going to be so arrogant as to think that I'm above that. So that being said, let's get into the definition of gratitude. And if I was a little bit more savvy or had somebody here in my home helping me produce these things, I would have had a nice title card and I would have put it up and shared it to the split screen and everything. But I'm just going to read it, and that's going to be okay. So gratitude, the definition, first definition, the expressed acknowledgement of the reception and or existence of value, right? So gratitude is basically giving a shout out to something that we see as valuable. And it could be something that we've received from an identity, or it could be something that is just in existence, which would probably be a gift from the universe, you could say, or you could add whatever label or whatever flavor you want to that meets your own philosophy. But the gift of something existing, we often define as an opportunity, right? So we could say, looking back at this definition, then the expressed acknowledgement of the reception and or existence of value. Giving a shout out to the things that people have given us and the opportunities that are in front of us. And then the second definition, the second part of the definition is it is the opposite of entitlement, right? So I'm working on a project that's getting into, a little bit of these dynamics and stuff. And there is a chart, a visual, like I like to make these sort of visual representations of a lot of my ideas, and I'm certainly making one for this. And basically what it's going to be is a spectrum with gratitude on one side, entitlement on the other, and I use it to illustrate a bunch of different things. But the fact that gratitude is the opposite of entitlement is a great, I think, place to start, in that when people look at the things in their lives that they don't express the acknowledgement of value for, you'll find that usually the default relationship they have with it is some form of entitlement, and it's the entitlement is basically the expectation, of a future that we've determined to be entitled to, right? Like if I am entitled to something, I am basically saying, I know what is going to unfold where this is concerned. And I am going to act as if it is there's a level of certainty involved in that. Right. And so if we're speaking about entitlement being the opposite of gratitude, whereas gratitude is acknowledging the reception or existence of value, it is very much a part of that saying, because I know it doesn't have to be here. I know it doesn't have to have been given to me. I know that there are times when this is not the case. So it is acknowledging that there is an opportunity or there is value there in a way that keeps us also plugged in, moment to moment, day to day, in the now, in the present. Entitlement is the opposite. Entitlement is have already figured this out. We already know what is going to unfold. Therefore, we are not present because we are not acknowledging the value that's in front of us, because we pretty much have already, written this story, and this is just a component of it. All right. So this is why I see these as being polar opposites. Now, one of the things that often gets conflated when it comes to gratitude is, well, am I supposed to, be indebted to somebody just because they've done something for me? Does this take away my autonomy or my ability to do what I want to do, just because somebody has given me or put an opportunity in front of me? And I would say, I would look at it this way. If I say that in an alliance, we have resources. I have a resource. My ally has resources. We decided to connect in this alliance, whatever the scope and scale of that alliance happens to be. But the purpose of it is because Our resources invested into this relationship, however that is, produces a synergy, right? So if I have one, he has one, we have together somehow more than two, to simplify it somewhat. Well, when somebody invests in us, as an ally, what gratitude does, gratitude confirms the value to those investing in the success of your mission through the success or the allocation of their resources. So, what am I saying? They are investing in us, and our gratitude is a great metric for them to read on the acknowledgement of that value, right? Remember, we said the opposite of gratitude is entitlement. So if I am not displaying or expressing somehow gratitude for those that are investing in me in some way, I am reducing myself to be interpreted, to have my actions interpreted as being those of entitlement. You're supposed to do that for me. And if there is an entitlement, then there's nothing to say to the other person that there's ever going to be a return on this investment. So if I say gratitude confirms the value to those investing, them seeking this confirmation shouldn't ever be mistaken as the expression of a debt. You owe me something. I hold the door open for you. You walk through. You don't say thank you. And I say you're welcome. It is not that I felt indebted. It's that I'm not going to open the door for you again. Like, there's value here and you're not even acknowledging it. And if there's not an acknowledgement, then how do I know that we're solidifying our alliance in the first place? So gratitude is one of the great lubricants of alliance. It is the thing that is constantly giving feedback to those people that are investing in you that allows them to make the better decision on whether or not you're worth the investment in the first place, or down the road continuing if they should still invest in you, right? So if you're somebody who walks around as if everything that is of value in their life, whether it be tangible things of value or opportunities or just alliances, the alliances themselves, if you tell somebody, I appreciate you, that is expressing gratitude for the alliance. That's what that is a commentary on. And somebody who receives that, somebody who were to tell me, hey man, I just want you to know I appreciate you. It's like, right on. I feel more worthy and valuable as an ally. And I appreciate the feedback that he's giving me, that whatever it is that I've invested in our alliance is actually being acknowledged, right? So it gives me a little bit more control on how I choose to allocate my, the investment of my resources in the first place, right? So we have people right now that, we look at different applications and different scales of, what gratitude means to people. If we were looking at society right now, society is very entitled. Society has not acknowledged, all of the value that has been given to it, all the value that is in front of it in the form of opportunity. There is a lot of entitlement. There is a lot of the expectation of the existence of those things. And what winds up happening is it disincentivizes anybody or any factors that contribute to all of those opportunities being there. It's not that they're going to be punished for not showing gratitude, is that whoever it was that, or whoever, whatever variables, factors involved in creating this, let's just say, reality of value, right? Of value and opportunity. It disincentivizes the continued investment because there's not a feedback loop that gives a return to those people investing or those things investing. So what do I mean? I often refer to the modern society as the aquarium. It is the artificial, unnatural or subnatural reality that a lot of us are exposed to, and a lot of us anchor our identities to. Right? We have people like, let's say what's her name, Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian is basically a porn star. She is somebody who has monetized her sexuality, and she is very, very wealthy because of it. She is divorced now. She has what we find was on purpose, a sex tape, that's been monetized and helped her, make a lot of money. And there are people who will look at the amount of money she has as the absolute validation for the path she chose to pursue. It's like the ends justify the means, at first, but then after a while, the means become moral to those who are fixated, but nothing on the other than nothing than those ends, right? A little bit of a pun there with ends and Kardashian distracted me mentally, but it's really, if you're somebody who could look at the life of Kim Kardashian and say, if you're a woman and says, yeah, I would love to be, and have that life, I would question, your ability to actually assess value in a natural way. It's not to say that, listen, I've heard this before. Money solves every problem that not having money created. But I would say if somebody actually sat down and did a sort of inventory of problems they have that not having money created, I think the list is going to be a lot smaller than they think. So if they do think something like money is going to solve all of their issues, I could see how, despite how somebody conducts themselves, so long as at the end of it they had money, it would become a moral process to them. It's like, yeah, when young girls look at somebody like Kim Kardashian or any of the other women out there that are monetizing their sexuality, why wouldn't young girls think that that's the way to be? Like, why is it that so much of our society thinks that that's just not going to happen? Like, if you're somebody who observes a social climb by a person who's done nothing but monetize their sexuality, like what moral cultural anchor do you think people are connected to stop them from being incentivized to act that way? We have a society right now that has children that are being raised by parents that are so narcissistic, that are so mentally ill, I would say, or dysfunctional more generally, that they are leveraging and marketing their children for social status, for popularity, for certainty, and what is that if not the culmination of the evolution of a society that is nothing but incentivize the pursuit of outcomes that are not moral, that are not natural, that are not actually valuable outside the aquarium, right? So if we look at a literal aquarium, there are a bunch of fish who are going to find a way to coexist in this environment that has artificially been constructed by the owner or the designer of the aquarium. And their entire lifespan is going to be in this artificial environment. And there are going to be formulas that could give them a better, more fulfilling existence, or a worse or lesser fulfilling existence based on the rules of that aquarium. And that makes sense. It's like if there's a spot that a fish could occupy that has the best access to the food, when the food's dropped, it's like a fish that could find his way to be there is going to fare better than the fish that doesn't have the capability to find there and is the last to sort of eat in amongst the group. I'm making shit up, but you guys, I think, understand the logic I'm trying to put down. So if we're looking at, well, how does somebody succeed in this society, and are they succeeding outside of the society, in some natural sense, dare I say universal sense, universal only in a way that, we came from a process that was following the rules of nature, and the universe is basically the playground of what we would call nature. So in a universal sense, what is actually good? What is actually valuable? Or is this thing good and valuable just in the sub reality of the aquarium? And I think when it comes to looking at society, there's a lot of gratitude for things that are connected to artificiality. And they're very grateful and they're very aware and they acknowledge those things that will allow them to succeed in the aquarium, but they've become detached from those things that they probably need. Well, they definitely need a lot more than things like the accumulation of a materialistic, accolades and trinkets and, the approval of strangers and those that are disconnected. Like those things mean something in the aquarium. And we will develop a relationship as a society with a morality that incentivizes that, if that is the, of the mission of the aquarium that we're a part of. But if we compare that to what is natural, what our bodies evolved engaging with, like when we look at the sympathetic nervous system and fight or flight and, the stress, reaction and relationship that we have because of our inability to control, the abstraction, the stories that we're telling ourselves. And we're triggering these physical, systems that are made for something else, that are made for engaging the environment, that are made for engaging nature. But we're in this aquarium and we're so smart, we're stupid, as my father, that was one of his favorite phrases. Some people are so smart, they're stupid. And I think when we go from really smart to so smart you're stupid is when you think you know better than reality, when you think you have a better truth than the truth, when you think you've figured out a better system than nature, I could say. Right. So let me get to some feedback with you guys here. Stephanie, what's up, darling? Good to see you. John Wiley, what's up, brother, man? Cherrytown Val, my man Magoo. He says, what's good, MC? I've been enjoying the emails lately. Also, I won't be at this is Jungle Gym business. I'm being Master Chim on the internet right now, Magoo. But he says he's going to compete in Jersey. Good luck. Make it happen, motherfucker. All right. So he also says, probably a little bit more to the point, this behavior seems to be extremely common where people worship the almighty dollar. Why do you think that people have traded their morality for hedonism? And I would say the easy answer, the quick answer, is it works, right? You see, here's the thing. Like, if we were to tell a young lady, this is what you're going to do. You're going to get a boyfriend that has a little bit of popularity, and you're going to have sex with him. You're going to record it. And then we're going to find all these recordings, we're going to edit and pick out the best ones that make you look the most enticing, alluring, leveraging your sexuality, is going to get the biggest buzz. And we're going to put that out there. And then we're going to segue or leverage that sort of buzz and following and energy into different platforms. And we're going to navigate your brand and image so that more and more people want to know what you're doing. We're going to get a TV show. Like, if we design this, basically, we could say hedonistic, immoral path for a young lady, most people would be like, well, that's a terrible idea. Why would you do that to a young girl? Like, why would you? Yet, here's Kim Kardashian, the billionaire in the aquarium. Master, you guys remember He-Man, Masters of the Universe? Well, there are people who are masters of the aquarium, right? And that's why they do it. That's why they worship the dollar, because everything that they've been told in this aquarium since the time they're born is that is what success looks like. That is what morality looks like. You are a better person if you have more money, right? I've said it before. I say it, to my coaching students, like, listen, rich people kill themselves too. Rich people get divorced too. Even Anthony Robbins is divorced, right? So none of us are sort of out of reach of the issues or the consequences of dysfunctional behavior, right? And I think that if you're looking at, somebody's life, how we assess what their life is worth in a sense of morality and potential, I think we're always going to be better off using universal criteria than criteria of the aquarium. I remember, and I brought this up before, I remember being raised in the Bronx in the 80s and 90s, people getting stabbed for jackets. Nowadays, people getting shot for sneakers. Like, if you sat down and just thought about, for a minute, how utterly dysfunctional that is. That there are people who are losing their lives because somebody wants their clothing, because of what that clothing is going to give them in terms of status in their social environment. how completely unnatural a phenomenon that is. But you can't say that there's no value in it, but the value lies entirely within the aquarium. So then what happens is if you get enough people basically addicted, I don't think there's a better word for it, addicted to the accolades of the aquarium, then ultimately you sever them from valuing any of those universal consequences or universal accolades that we have evolved, to thrive under or to thrive in the pursuit of. And once you've disconnected people from those universal natural benefits and rewards, now it's just a matter of who controls the aquarium, right? So it's, crack in the 80s. It's like crack dealers. They'd give out crack to somebody for free. Why? Because the person would become addicted. And once they became addicted, they know that they had those person for as long as they wanted them because they have the one thing that person thinks that they need, right? So it's like, yeah, this is why this happens to people. This is why you have individuals who, who will sport their children around social media. Like, I'll make some people uncomfortable here. I'll think of two things that'll make some people uncomfortable. Let's piss some people off. Not you guys, of course, because you guys understand, right? Two examples of the aquarium mindset that has permeated society. Number one, gender reveal parties. And gender reveal parties that basically allow some energy and notoriety to be given to the couple, usually the mother, and it allows for this sort of narcissistic, energy accumulation, leveraging a child that is not even born. I remember my brother. My brother and I think my sister-in-law too got pissed at me once because my I remember this. My nephew was they were having a party for his 8th grade graduation, and I love my nephew. Yeah, I do anything for my nephew. And I remember, he's in his 20s now. He's married with a kid, but this is 8th grade graduation. I'm saying, I'm telling him like. What do you mean? How do you graduate from 8th grade? Like, I didn't understand, right? Like, I'm out of school. Like, I don't even think I had kids at the time. What do you mean? Like, graduation from 8th grade? How do you graduate from 8th grade? There's 9th grade, right? So, like, I didn't understand, I didn't understand how it was. And it was just something that everybody did. It was something that all of his schoolmates were doing. It's somebody else. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm usually the guy. I find myself usually being the guy that's going, hey, guys, why are we doing this? Like, what's the point of this? And if there's not a good answer, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. But gender reveal parties, very, very much the same. Like, when the fuck did we start this? Like finding out the sex of a baby used to actually be something that people didn't even want to know. Because what did it matter? I'll be honest, like I wanted to know what each one of my children, the gender, the sex of my baby, before, they were born. And my wife and I went and we did the whole, they got the 3D, sonograms and all that shit. And we found out. I remember my second son, Kaizen, when we found out he was a boy, I was an asshole. I ran out of the doctor's office and started calling people. Yeah, I'm having another boy. We're having another boy. Because I enjoyed that. But the idea of creating this sort of surprise, because this is what's inherent in that. We're putting it out as though people are so like dying to know what gender your child's going to be, that you are actually giving them a gift by celebrating this surprise. It's like you ever see like somebody walks into a party, surprise party, and everybody goes surprise, and they're like, holy shit, I didn't know, thank you, the great appreciation. That is like the surprise. That's like the mechanism that we use when we're celebrating things. And we're going, because obviously the parents know, And if the parents, don't know, that means that the gender reveal organizers know. So now you have a group of people that know before the parents. So now you're creating a celebration with people that are going to know what gender your child is before you do, because you want them to celebrate your surprise. Like, what the fuck is happening right now? It's like, what the fuck is happening? Gender reveal, like pretty soon they're going to have father reveal parties. It's going to be like, a bunch of people in a lineup, like fucking, what was it, Maury show and Jerry Springer type shit. We're going to have the father reveal and everyone's going to go, hey, it's him. What's your name again? It's like, this is how dysfunctional we've become. We started creating celebrations for things that didn't really accomplish anything. Like, you didn't do anything to celebrate. Why are we celebrating? It's like, hey, not only did my wife and I put a baby in her belly, but we also did the work to make sure that baby was a boy or a girl. It's like, oh my God. It's like, no, man, how many times you want to get paid for the same job? So here's the other thing. One of them is gender reveal parties. The other one is the social media back to school pictures. The social media back to school pictures. People, like, first of all, it's all the moms. And it's the moms. This is like moms run amok, right? Moms run amok. That's what it is. MRAs. I'll call this. This goes in the MRA folder. Now, what does this mean? This means you can't blame the moms for being moms, but will somebody fucking calm them down? That we need to see your kids, with their new outfits, doing and some of them have to hold the chalkboard that's like so eloquently, like almost calligraphic, writing, describing what grade they're going into, and junior, third grade. He's sitting there. He's got the fucking gel in his hair. He's about to go to school, and he's told to appreciate this. He's told that this is a good thing. Hey, we have to take the picture for all the strangers on the internet. So now he's starting to see, oh, yeah, proving to strangers. That's something that we got to pay attention to. It is just fun. But here's the thing. It's like, moms, if you guys could get a grip of yourself, I'd appreciate it. But the fucking dads that are like, what the fuck are you doing? Will you take the fucking camera away from your wife and just tell them to tell the kids to go to school? You want the kids to focus on school, focus on getting ready to meet these people that are actually in reality. Like, you're going to have friends that are in front of you. It's like, it's better than 3D. It's better. It's like they're really there. It's like you could touch them. It's like, these are the things we for. Why the fuck are we making this about somebody else? No, I want everybody to give him, like, no, this is for you, you fucking crazy mother. I'm not going to call you crazy. I'm going to take that back. You mother run amok, right? You out of control mother. Like, get a fucking grip. But these are the dysfunctional rituals that we have, the unnatural, artificial rituals that we have. I remember, I think it was Chris Rock who had a bit, it was a pretty good bit, on fathers wanting credit for taking care of their children, and his whole thing was like, you're supposed to take care of your kids. Like, what the fuck? Like, listen, I bust my ass a lot for my kids. My providing for my wife and kids like monopolizes my fucking brain. I have to schedule breaks throughout the day to maintain balance. But I never want people to say, look how awesome he is, or I don't do it for the consequences, the social consequences and rewards that I get for it. It's like, I could not fathom not doing this. This is my job. This is my job. It's not that I don't appreciate the gratitude, that I get for people, but it's like, that's not why I'm doing this, because then that becomes the thing, right? That becomes the thing. So when we're talking about gratitude, right? When I, see my kids smile, when I see my kids succeed in something that they were failing at. I remember when my oldest, when he was first able to do a backflip. I remember the first conversation that he had where I asked him, I was like, you guys could do, and my kids, I was like, you guys could do backflips, right? I've never done a backflip in my fucking life, but it's not how I introduce things. I mean, you guys could do backflips, right? No. I'm like, you guys can't do backflips? Oh man, we gotta get on that. Let's start practicing. Let's start looking it up. Let's start, working you through. And then before you know it, my oldest, he's the oldest, biggest, strongest out of them. He was the first one to be able to do backflips. And I remember the look on his face and how proud he was. And like, that was, to me, that's the gratitude to me as a father. It's not, hey, Dad, you're awesome. Or, hey, Dad, here's some money. Like I don't know how bad it could get with people, right? But it's just seeing that he's acknowledging the value that I was a part of. Right? It doesn't have to be put towards me. It's just he is acknowledging the value, and I can observe that acknowledgement. That is the gratitude, right? So he sees that there's value. So when we have people that put things in the way of that, it's like we want gratitude for doing the things we're supposed to be doing. It designs a relationship with those things that is predicated on getting that reward, not the value of participating in the thing in and of itself. Right? If I don't take care of my kids, if I don't provide for my family, like, I'm a fucking loser. And it has nothing to do with the feedback I get from other people. It's like me. I'd be a fucking loser. So I'm the one that I can't do that. I can't get into the position, where I'm now just doing things because other people are going to give me some reward for it. Now, there are a lot of things that I do with my kids, my family, that I don't put it on social media. I don't take pictures of it. And, people that go to the concerts now and they're recording the whole concert. It's like, listen, maybe at this point, like, I'm sure the concert's promoters are going to be selling a DVD of the fucking thing, but like, what are you doing? You're missing the experience. And for me, it's a telltale sign of a society that is losing itself, that is losing its identity. And I think gratitude's a huge, huge part of that, right? Big D, what's up? That's my brother right here, guys. All right. Corey says, Father Reveal Party. I'm telling you, run with it. If listen, one of you guys want to make that a meme, it's yours. Father Reveal Parties. No Name, what's up? I don't think it's No Name. So I think that there's just an account. It might be No Name. But I think sometimes the software that I use doesn't load somebody's identity or account name. But it might just be No Name. No Name, let me know if it's actually No Name or if it's something else, and that's just a software. It's one of these things that keeps me up at night. So No Name says, people's lives are so ephemeral. They have to cling wildly onto any tiny event in their lives. And they're so narcissistic that they have to farm approval for anything. And it's desperation. It's desperate, right? And when we look at, like, if somebody is really trying to find validation, the first thing they'll do is, they'll look at other people. They might be on that, look at other people and say, right, recruiting validation for whatever it is they're doing. And you see that everywhere. And it begins to be, well, can you actually do something without the feedback of other people and still know that it's moral? In the Alliance Trivium, one of my programs, it starts with self-alliance, the relationship one has with themselves, and I think that as somebody develops as an individual, they understand in a more consistent manner who is making the deals with other people as they go on from day to day. Without that understanding of self, individuals are so malleable. They're so easily influenced and transformed by other factors, by other people, by other identities, by other missions. That this is how we're basically convinced, duped, persuaded into becoming dysfunctional. We're persuaded and sold on the idea that it's better to not develop the most powerful version of you that you can, right? Cherrytown Vibe says, shit, my mom used to take pictures of us on the first day of school, but that first day was so fucking annoying. Well, all I care about is seeing mom's ass, not the logs that came out. Okay. Okay, you went a little that way with that one, but I get the sentiment. No Name says it is No Name. Okay, good, absolutely. But so getting back to gratitude, I think that when we're able to look at something that we can appreciate, we should acknowledge that, right? Because gratitude is not just an appreciation, it's the expressed acknowledgement. And when we have a commitment, a ritual, a culture, we could say, of expressing the acknowledgement of value of those things around us, a byproduct of that is we are that much more incentivized and motivated to be in the moment, which means we're much less likely to fall victim to the abstractions and the stories in our heads. We're also not setting ourselves up in a entitlement relationship with our environment such that we think that we can tell the future. This is always going to be there. That's always going to be there. And, I shouldn't acknowledge, any form of gratitude for it being there right now because it's supposed to be there and all these different things. And when we have an individual who is doing things to receive gratitude, he's not looking to create value. He's looking to accumulate, some narcissistic, energy from other people. And it becomes insincere, and it very easily sort of separates from what is functional. I'll use the holding the door open analogy. If I am going to sit there opening the door for people just because I live off of them saying thank you to me, it cheapens the value of opening the door in the first place. Like, I'm the type of person, if there is a doorman, if there's literally somebody who gets paid to open the door, I'm still going to say thank you, because he's a person, and I have an issue with just not acknowledging a person. But I'm also the guy that if I'm in an elevator, I walk in as an elevator with somebody, and I'm like, hey, what's up? I just acknowledged people's existences, but to have somebody who is not paid to open the door, but is actually inconvenienced in some way, and they open the door for you, it's like, why would you not say thank you? Why would you not express gratitude if you want to continue to live in a society where those types of people exist, or that type of response to the scenario exists in people, right? Why wouldn't you incentivize that, right? Because that's what winds up happening as a result, right? Corey says, gratitude being a counter to entitlement is a powerful concept and something we could actively check on ourselves as a daily practice. Sounds simple, but it's the simple things we forget. Well, oftentimes the simplicity of a concept, is almost correlated exactly to its difficulty. Because when things get complicated, we can keep ourselves busy trying to get all these things right. When something's simple, it's really the discipline of maintaining a relationship with that thing and sort of keeping out the distractions, that would have us not follow that path. So I think that when we look at it, gratitude as the opposite of entitlement, we have a good understanding of, we want to be living in the now. We want to acknowledge the value. We also, if somebody gives you a gift and you say thank you because you value it, when the next time they show up, do we expect a gift? Do we look at it as a gift, or do we look at it as, this is the thing that they do? This is the thing, therefore, that they're supposed to do. So there is nothing really to thank them for, at least not with the same type of sincerity that we did the first time. But I expect nothing. Therefore, I can appreciate the value as I see it, And I say that in, like, with an asterisk, meaning, that's the idea. That's the plan. I'm far from perfect. I get let down by people all the time still, right? I'm the one that says, hey, if somebody lets you down, you've misset your expectations. But the rub of it is, sometimes we root for, I think you put an email the other day, we root for anchors, right? We root for people. The idea of rooting as a phrase is, in this context, is what I first got from Pomanatuan Sayak from Sayak Kali, having a conversation, this idea of rooting for somebody. And it makes sense. We sit there, we want somebody to be great, and we don't want to lower the standard, right? If we lower the standard, and I explained this in an email the other day, it's, we refuse to lower the standard because it might hurt them or it might hurt us, right? It's like, if I need somebody to be at this level, let's say a level 8, and it turns out they're a 6. Well, if I now just expect a level 6, it's like, fuck, I wanted an 8. I'm out 2. Like, I wanted an 8. This guy's got to be an 8. Nah, he's only a 6 though, Justin. No, he's got to be an 8 because I need an 8. Yeah, but why does he have to be an 8? Because I need an 8. So I don't want to lower my standards because I'll lose something out. But then there's other times we don't want to lower the standards because the guy thinks he's an 8, but he's really a 6. And it's like, I don't want to treat him like a 6. Why? Because he thinks he's an 8. I feel bad. That's the rooting, that one, observation. It's like, oh no, I want him to succeed. I want him to, I don't want him to, yeah, but he's just a 6. He's never going to make it to an 8, or at least not just from your expectations, right? He's got to do some work. It has nothing to do with you, right? So these things, it's important that we articulate them and build, productive relationships with them. Al-Jitsu. Practicing gratitude is a healthy habit. That's absolutely right. And, key in on the word practicing, right? This is something that we practice. This is something that we do, right? All right. So let me see. Corey, one more thing here. Everyone, including myself, are quick to point out the entitlement of society by how many people keep themselves in check. And that's exactly right. Remember, everything that is not the universe erodes, right? The chaos, things that we call chaos is really the universe running its own selfing formula. It's like, if there's order, it is artificial when compared to the order of the universe. So it's like the artificial order and the universal order. Whenever we stop investing in the artificial order, it will transform back to the universal order, right? But we call universal order chaos, because we're doing it in the context of, well, it's not the order that we wanted, right? But chaos is really just another form of order at a different scale for a different identity, different application. But if you're somebody who, thinks that, your life is supposed to be great, but you don't have the ability to sort of measure that, of what that means, and you don't have a sort of feedback loop, right? One of the things in my book, keeping your feet on the floor, FLOR, feedback loop of reality. If your feet aren't on the floor, how is it that you're supposed to take inventory of what's happening moment to moment, right? And that's important. When I get let down by people, it's always that I have an expectation that I inaccurately set, and then I have to go through a process of just saying, I am not going to get angry at this person. I'm not going to lose my mind. I'm not going to get all, oh man, that sucks. Like, that's all a waste of energy. I'm going to reassess, adjust accordingly, and still be the powerful ally that they have access to, but at this new level of alliance, right? That's a little bit more in accordance with who they are, right? That way, it's a better way for them to win rather than them just letting me down because they're not up to par, right? So, Cherry Town, I'm glad you bring up the subject of gratitude, MC. The older I get, the more I appreciate my parents. They really try to do the best they could for me. I don't know if I could ever be half the parent. And well, here's the thing, and I agree with that sentiment. I think about, like, I have my kids now, and I think about the shit that I put my parents through as a teenager, and it's like, holy fuck. They're like, I couldn't even conceptualize my kids doing the shit that I did, fucking knock on wood, right? But I do have an appreciation for that. But what goes along with that is there should be, I think, one of the greatest testaments to our parents is that we endeavor to become better parents than they were, as is usually observable, they're better versions of their parents, and that cycle should keep going. And I think that's what keeps us generationally moving in the right direction. Right now, we're in a form of society where it's like, if you're a kid who's raised by a dad who thinks is a woman and some fucking woman or a guy with green hair and fucking whiskers that were surgically put in his face, like you're going to be better than them regardless. But chances are those people aren't as good as parents as the people that were before them. So we're starting to get in our own way where that's concerned in society, which is why I think it is healthy to say, you know what, I'm going to be a better parent than my parents were to me, because that's part of what they sacrificed and invested in me for progress, right? So we want to keep that going in whatever way you define it, right? But I think as a general sentiment, it's something that keeps us honest, moving in a singular direction, right? MC Utgard, what's up, my man? He says, unrelated to the top, but thanks for pressuring me. You and Paul Wagner have made me go to start up with martial arts again. BJJ now and judo as soon as they start up again. Right on, right on. Yeah, I haven't spoken to Paul in some time. You know, I'm sure he's well. I'm sure he's crushing it. He's also getting pretty heavy into jiu-jitsu last time I heard. And good for you. Good for you getting in there and doing the thing. Everybody's got to find a way to create that pressure. You know, we lie to ourselves. We get to the point where we're so wrapped up in our job and whatever, you know, whatever it is that's stressing us out at the moment, that we think that that's what our life is. And we lose sight of the fact that no matter what environment we're in, we exist as an aside. We exist separate from that environment and we participate in it. But there's always us. So sometimes having these hobbies, these things that we do, are meditative in their effect, in that they sever these conscious associations with these ecosystems that don't define who we are. It's like, yeah, you should be going to lift weights. You should be going to do martial arts. You should be going to do something that has nothing to do with the other things you do in your life, because you do enough. You have enough variety while maintaining function. Obviously, got to fucking pay your rent, feed your kids. But while maintaining function, the more you sort of find ways to experience life, the more you realize the commonality in all these experiences is you. So you remind yourself who you are by changing your environment from time to time, because you are the commonality, right? So let's stop there. I think, he says Paul is a dad now, recently announced the arrival of his son. I did not know that. Congratulations to him. I'm gonna send him a message, shoot him a text and tell him congratulations. That's awesome. That's fucking great to hear. Right on. That is awesome. Thank you for letting me know that. All right, guys, I'm going to get off there. I appreciate you all. All the links are in the description, no matter where you're watching. But I will say, make sure you're on the email list, masterchim.com. It's free. I don't give your fucking emails to anybody. I don't do any of that. And I send one every day. I'm here every week for the Master Chim letter at noon Eastern Standard Time. And wherever you're watching me now, I'll always be here. But if you're not watching on YouTube, you could always go to the TRIBALNOMICS YouTube page, and it is streamed there. All right, guys, I appreciate you and all you brothers and sisters who are spending this time with me. Thank you. Gratitude for the investment of that time. And I will see you next week. And as always, pressure to power.